This is an update to my last video on the diesel heater from China. And before I get started, go ahead and look at my hat. Comment about it if you want. It's not a Popeye hat. It's a Greek fisherman hat. And if I was to go fishing, I don't think I'd fish for Greek. I think I'd fish for fish. And anyway, I've been looking for a pappy. I mean, what? Excuse me. What I did was I had the motorcycle battery running out. And what happened is I watched, and it was 9 hours I had it on there. I had it for about half an hour on the high. I put it down to about 2, left it run. After 9 hours, it drained that battery down to 10 volts. That's a lot of drain for that battery, because when the battery's in a bike running, the bike alternator is putting about 13.5 volts into it while it's being used, so it keeps it up pretty good. I thought, well, I can't do that, so I looked online, and a lot of guys will show this, what I got. And it was $28 on eBay, and what it is, it's a power source. It doesn't come with any wires. Well, I got a wire with my diesel heater for it. So that'll go on a diesel heater. The other 2 ends I just trimmed, and I put solder on them so that I can put them in here. And it doesn't come with a 110 cord. So I looked in the back, I have this. Just happened to have it. In fact, it was longer than this. I cut it off. I put solder on these wires so that I can push them in, and there's screws you loosen, put them in, screw them down. So I got that. Then I'm looking at it. It has air vents, has a fan in it to help keep it cool. And you can see on the bottom all these vents. Well, if you lay that down flat, that's covering a lot of them vents. So I have some of this hose, had it back there, and I cut 4 pieces, 1/2 inch long. So when I mount this over there, I can put it up on these. I'll take a little silicone and glue these to the bottom of this. When it's setting on it, it'll be 1/2 inch off the plate where it's going to set on that shelf. It'll fit right in where I had my battery, and I had 2 eye screws down in here, hook screws, where I could put a gummy across my battery to hold it there. Well, now I can just put gum bands over there, so whatever, to hold it down. It's real light. But I'm thinking this is going to be the answer, because this way you don't even need a battery. You just run it with this. If the power would go off, well, I'm not going to have any lights in here, so I ain't going to be working anyway. But say in the summer, you know, if you have the doors open, the power goes off for some reason, you could take the battery up there, put it on. And then one night we had run out of fuel out here. The next day the guy was coming. So I put it on. Well, it didn't last all night. But I had drained my water lines in here, shut them off, drained them, you know, opened the faucet so it drained down, because I thought that battery I don't think is going to last all night. And so that's what I did, and the next morning it was cold, and it was cold out here. And he came, got us a fuel, I fired the furnace right back up. Everything's good. But to show this, and there's a lot of guys on here that already showed this, but I'll talk about it a little bit. Right here, I'm going to go around so I can see if you can see that good. I need it to get it in the light. I think that's showing it. It's an S36012, and it tells all the stuff on it. And there's a lot of these on there that they have them different sizes, this and that, but that's the one for this one. And it seems to be the one to get. And you can see here, there's markings here. There's a little thing that flips up with all the screws and connect, you know, where you put your wires in. And over here at the end you have line, so that would be your 110 power. You'd put your black one there. N is a neutral, which would be white, and the green one would be ground. Then over here you have 3 with the volt plus and 3 with the volt minus. So you'd simply hook your diesel, the red one to the plus, the black one to the minus, and you got it. Nice little unit. And on here it has a switch for 110 and 220. It's set for 110. You push it that way and you can see in there 110. So it was already set there when I got it. So I'm going to hook it up. I'm going to hook this up, glue these things on the bottom, and set it over there. And we're going to, I want to first hook the wire, 110 wire right here, and you want to put a voltmeter where you're going to take your power from, and you want to adjust it because it's adjustable. It has a little wee pot right in here. You put a screwdriver and turn it up and down, and you want it around 13.5 volts. Because that's what most of these run on. When the bike's running, that's what it's putting out, about 13.5 volts. So I'll hook that, just the this line, the electric, and I'll take a screwdriver and adjust that, put a meter on it, and set it. I have my 110 wire in. I have the meter probes in it. So now I'm going to plug it in for the first time, and we'll see what voltage we're getting. You can hear the fan. There's a little LED light on, and it's up to 10, 11, 12. It's 12 volts right there. I'm just going to see if I can go a little higher on it. Yep. As I go up, the fan goes up. 10, 11, 12. There's about 13 volts right there. Yep, 13 volts. I'll just leave it there. And that's should run my diesel heater. So now I can unplug it. I'll plug it in to the heater and we'll see how it works. So I've got the power pack right here. It's all wired up. I just have to find something to go across it to hold it. Got it set up, and I put the 110 line down, and if you look up underneath, I have it really stapled up under there, and it goes over to the socket. But I had to make sure I have it stapled good because there's that exhaust pipe right there, and I don't want it getting, you know, falling down on it. So I've got all that stapled really good. So now I can go over and plug it in and try it. I have my plug right here. I can just put up there and turn on, and you can see this little screen. It's when it's unplugged, it's always off, and it just turns back. As soon as I plug it in, you can hear a little bit of air. You can see it coming on. I'm going to push the power button. It's starting. It's on 3, so to start with, I'm going to put it up to 6. So there, it's on 6. It shows everything's running, and it takes a while to power up and get heat going, but it's running it good. So that's one thing I did today, and there's one more thing I want to show. I have my windows, one on each side of these doors, and when I'm out of here and at night, I like to have these covered up. And so what I was doing was, at first I put cardboard over these windows, and then what I had was, I had 2 of these back there in the back that are made out of wood. I made them for shutters, and I took a door and put it on each side. But it's heavy to lift in. I had a wire up here that come down and wrapped around it to hold it. But if you have something here in front, you have to lift it up over it. You bump the top. It's just a pain. I thought, I gotta have something to put over this window that looks decent, that's quick and easy to use. The easier it is, the better for me. I need something that, you know, I can reach right over, put it up, take it down. So I got to thinking, I had bought a while back some of these blinds. I got these blinds. I believe at dollar store or maybe Walmart clearance, and they're straw and they're really nice and light. And I found this one is so long I could cut it in half and have enough for each window, but I have to cut the bottom off too. It's too tall for this. It goes down too far. So what I did was I cut this right in half, and I made one that is come out better than I ever thought it would. And I keep it right up here so I can grab it. What I did was I laid it out where I wanted it to cut. They have this red cloth on it to keep it from coming apart. So what I did was, you can see, I put the line, I drew a line, and then I cross-stitched on the sewing machine. I went over this about 3 times, and then I had to cut the other side, so I did the same thing. It's a crisscross stitch, and I went 3 times on each of them. Then I put magnets up here, 3 little button magnets. I didn't drill into this, I just glued them with hot glue right on top. If I ever want to take them down, I can just slide a blade under there and pop them off. Then when I wanted to lay this out and put it up, I thought this is the best way. What I did was I put these magnets on this side. If I put it on the inside where it attaches, you have to really pull pretty hard. I don't want that because I might start tearing this apart. So I hot glued them on the outside. When they were dry, I went all over them with glue, and then now to put them up, I just get it close, and it attaches that one and this one, and that's it. That is so fantastic easy to work. You just take them down and roll them up, stick it up there, but I love the way they come off so easy and they stay. And they're so easy, you just get them close and the magnets line them up. Fantastic. I thought, man, that couldn't have come out any better. It's quick, it's easy, it looks good. So on the blinds, I used 1 roll of this for both of them. I have all this left, and it comes summer, I put my air conditioner in there, and it's the one that sits on the floor and the hose goes up and goes out. So I'm going to have to take a piece of this and make a smaller one that I can block off the window. I might have to put 1 more magnet up there to hold the end of it, but it should work great. I mean, that works fantastic. Then the heater, you can hear it going down. And we had just got oil for the oil furnaces, the one in the house and the one out here, and the oil was $4.52 a gallon. So I was clear out. That's 275 gallons right there. Then in the house, they're both hooked together. So if you have like a half a tank, you really have 1 tank because half in each. And it was down a little over a quarter, you know, above a quarter a little bit. So that was a lot of fuel to take on. And they won't let you pay for all of it. You have to be on a payment plan, and then you have so long to pay that off. Well, she keeps paying, and she had like $700 or something already paid that wasn't used yet. So now this will take it, and then she'll have to pay the rest. But I think the total cost for that was like about $1,800. So that is where this heater is going to serve me so well. Putting that on in here, I'm in here working, and that in there can be colder. I can turn it down to 60. I don't care. You know, I go in there for tools and that, but I wear a shirt and my hat. And what I've been working on, you can see, the Honda. I had it the one time and shut it off, and I was standing there and I seen fuel dripping going down underneath the bike. Well, this is the carbs out of it. I believe this would be the front of the bike. It was coming, I thought, out of back here. This maybe overflow. You know, I didn't see the overflow where he had run it. There's 4 that go together, and then they go down, so if your float sticks, it don't run it all over the bike and cause a fire. It'll go clear down. Here, I think it was the tubing. It's still on the bike, and a lot of the tubing's hard. Now, the fuel line I had replaced coming in, and it might not have been this, but I tapped on it, and it was all right. It quit. I ran it, checked it. It was fine. But then, after all, it was earlier this year sometime, or the end of last year there, I was going to go get it inspected, turned it on, I had it running, and I looked, it's running again. I said, it's got to be fixed. So I took the carbs off, I put the carbs in this oil pan, I set it outside, and I took a whole can of carb cleaner and started spraying and brushing and spraying and brushing. It was down in here, and I had this tipped a little bit so I could dip my brush in it and clean it, and I got them pretty clean. But I ordered, that's a set of for all 4 carburetors, all the gaskets, screws, springs, everything for these carbs. Then in the top of the carbs, up in here, I know there's an air cutoff valve, and it's like a diaphragm. I knew they're going to be probably bad, so I got them. I have something I had ordered. It's coming. These go down on the engine, then your carburetors plug into them. There's 4 of them there. And these are so hard, they're like a rock. That's supposed to be rubber. And if I squeeze it, it doesn't have the bands. I took the bands off, but if I squeeze it, see, it stays that shape. It's just old. This one has a piece on it hanging out of there, and you can see from pulling it out of there, it's not like rubber. Now, when I go to put the new ones in, when I get this all done, I will clean these real good, the new ones. Then I will put Armor All, whiten down with Armor All. That way, you put these in, you should have to push it, and they go outward, and they'll snap right in. If they don't, you take a finger of gasoline. Once these are in there, and it goes this way. Once these are in there, you hurry up and put gasoline around here on all 4. Hurry up and grab this, put it down, and push it. Gasoline will make it slide right on. It's like I had told about a foot peg. If you have a rubber foot peg and it's bad, you want to replace it, just cut it off. You ain't going to use it, once you have the new one. If you put it down in gasoline and let it, just for like a half a minute, take it out, push it on quick. You can turn it and push it on. It'll go on so much easier. Let it and just leave it on, and it'll dry, and it's on. Easiest way. When I worked for Honda, a guy showed me that. Honda dealer guy I worked for. He showed me that one day. I said, oh man, what I was doing is pushing them, maybe putting a little bit of LPS on, working it, and you'd get it part ways on, it wouldn't want to go. He showed me that. He said, just put it in gasoline and then shove it on. It worked good. But all the tubing is hard on this. So I have some tubing. I have one draped across it for in there, but some of this other tubing I think I'm going to have to buy and see if I can, what's going on with it. But these have to be, and they say in the book, these 4 as a group, you don't have to separate them to rebuild them. You'd only do that if you're working, on a car body or something down in here. And these are carbs, they're not fuel injected, which I like. But usually these plungers are shiny. These are dark. At first I looked at them and I thought, do they have some kind of ceramic on that? Well, I want to take one out, rub it with a little, like cleaner and see to make sure. I don't want to be cleaning them when they're not supposed to be clean like that. But they seem to work good. But it was this carb back here where the gas was coming from, and I suspect it's the float. And I think this has the new, it has all the jets, the float ends. There's a little screen on the one jet. It has it. And I thought, one thing is, if I'm in here and it's real cold and I'm working on this, I can put it in here to use like carb cleaner, but I'd have my diesel heater off, and I think that's why they say don't put it in the garage. That's one big reason, is because you use that and it's right there, and there up inside that pipe is fire. Well, if them flames or them, you know, fumes from this spray would get up in there, it could, you know, ignite it. So I'd have that off. The furnace way back there, I don't think the fumes are going to get clear back there, but I would not spray and use carb cleaner in here or anything like that with that on, because it's more or less like having a kerosene heater on, about the same thing. But other than that, hope everybody's doing good, and I don't know. I got the carbs, I got a lot of stuff taken off, and these panels, when you take them off, you got to be so careful. I hang them all up. I got them hanging up there, and I'm going to probably take the rest of these off. And something I found over here I want to show. It's right there, yeah. Okay, I'll turn the steering. So I can get in here. Now right here, this panel was here like this. This is foam, and it is so old and nasty. And I think I had some nice foam around here someplace. I can see where it's put together right here. So it's like a strip they put on, maybe clear around, and then the seams right here. But I'm going to measure the thickness of this and see if I can put new foam in here. So I'm going to take this off and all that. Another thing I'd like to clean in here, I might get into setting the valves. I have the stuff to do it. I'd like to get down in there, and they have that slave cylinder for the clutch. I'd like to clean it and do it. I put new fluid in it, but the master cylinder's up there, the slave thing's down there, right back in there. I might take that. And I also bought, there's just a little bit of oil on the front forks, just a little bit, like a little film, not really a leak. But I have new seals, and I'm thinking about, I ought to just do that and get it all done with. But I'd really like to ride this summer. I didn't this past 22, I didn't ride at all. I don't think very much, no. But that's where I'm at, and that's what I'm doing. Hope everybody out there is doing great. And as I always say, have a good day.